The secret technique to attract wealth effortlessly through the law of assumption begins with a profound inner realization that money is not something you chase, earn through struggle, or wait for permission to receive, but something that naturally flows toward the identity you choose to assume within your consciousness. Because life does not respond to desire or effort alone, it responds to self-concept. And the moment you internally decide, without doubt, resistance, or emotional begging, that you are already a person for whom money is normal, expected, and safe, the external world begins to rearrange itself to confirm that assumption in ways that appear effortless, unexpected, and even miraculous, yet are simply the logical outcome of an inner shift. For the law of assumption teaches that whatever you consistently assume to be true about yourself hardens into fact, and when you assume wealth as your natural state rather than a distant goal, you stop sending signals of lack, urgency, fear, and desperation, which are the very frequencies that block abundance, and instead you emit calm certainty, inner authority, and relaxed expectation, which money recognizes and responds to, because money, like all energy, moves toward clarity and confidence, not neediness. And this is why so many people work endlessly yet remain stuck, while others receive opportunities, gifts, ideas, and financial breakthroughs with ease, because the latter group has unconsciously accepted wealth as part of who they are, not something they must prove themselves worthy of. And this technique requires you to mentally rehearse, feel, and live from the assumption that your financial life is already secure, expanding, and supported, even before evidence appears, not through blind hope, but through disciplined inner alignment, where you speak, think, and emotionally react as a financially stable and prosperous individual would, meaning you stop overthinking money, stop fearing bills, stop measuring your worth by your bank balance, and stop identifying with past financial struggles, because the past has no power unless you continue to assume it does. And instead, you begin to see money as loyal, responsive, and abundant, available through multiple channels, not limited to one job, one person, or one circumstance. And when challenges arise, you no longer panic or collapse internally, but calmly assume that everything is working in your favor, that solutions are forming, that unseen support is already in motion, because assumption is not pretending, it is choosing a state of consciousness and remaining faithful to it despite appearances. And this faithfulness is what impresses the subconscious mind, which then directs your behavior, intuition, timing, and perception in ways that naturally attract wealth, such as inspired ideas, confident decisions, aligned actions, and encounters with the right people at the right time, all without force, strain, or burnout. And as you persist in this assumption, your nervous system relaxes, your mind becomes clearer, and you begin to notice opportunities you previously overlooked, because lack narrows perception, while abundance expands it. And this is why the technique feels effortless, not because nothing happens, but because nothing is forced. And the more you embody the feeling of already being financially secure, the less you obsess over results, which paradoxically accelerates their arrival, since obsession implies doubt, while calm expectation implies certainty, and certainty is the language the universe understands most clearly. And as days pass, small confirmations appear first: unexpected discounts, extra income, gifts, ideas, compliments, debt relief, or sudden clarity. And instead of dismissing them, you accept them as evidence that your assumption is working, which strengthens your belief and deepens the state, creating a self-reinforcing loop where belief creates results, and results strengthen belief, until wealth no longer feels extraordinary, but normal. And when wealth feels normal, it stays, grows, and multiplies, because you are no longer emotionally dependent on it. And this is the true mastery of money: to desire it without attachment, to expect it without anxiety, and to receive it without guilt, understanding that wealth is not a reward for suffering, but a reflection of alignment. And the law of assumption does not ask you to deny reality, but to choose which reality you will energize, because every moment you are assuming something about your future, consciously or unconsciously. And when you deliberately assume abundance, safety, and ease, you step out of survival mode and into creative mode, where money becomes a tool rather than a source of stress. And as you continue this practice, you will notice that your self-talk softens, your confidence deepens, your boundaries strengthen, and your relationship with money transforms from fear-based to partnership-based. And this inner shift is what people mistakenly call luck, when in truth it is alignment. And alignment always appears effortless from the outside, yet it is the result of an inner decision repeated daily, quietly, faithfully, until the world has no choice but to agree, because the world is a mirror, and when you consistently assume that wealth flows to you easily, supports you generously, and stays with you comfortably, the mirror reflects exactly that, not because you begged, forced, or chased, but because you finally allowed yourself to live from the identity of someone who expects abundance as a natural part of life. And this is the secret technique, simple yet profound, subtle yet powerful, requiring no struggle, only awareness, consistency, and the courage to assume the best before you see it.